Well, Queenslanders are being told to expect more wild weather. The first monsoon of the season could impact the tropics this week. A trough is forecast to move south into tropical Queensland through the end of the week and into the weekend. Multiple tropical lows could form over Australian waters in the next week, which could develop into tropical cyclones given the right conditions. The monsoon is expected to bring heavy rainfall for far north Queensland, with the potential for some areas to see more than 100 millimetres by Saturday, including Cairns and Cooktown.
Over the next 5 to 7 days, the heaviest falls are likely through the western parts of the top end and also along the Gulf Coast and the western side of the peninsula. So from Torres Strait down through Weipa, Kowanyama and those areas are probably likely to see the heaviest falls, where we could see 3 and even up to 500 millimetres there.
Well, joining me now live from Cooktown in far north Queensland is the Liberal National Party Senator and Shadow Minister for Resources in Northern Australia, Susan McDonald. Thank you so much for your time, Senator. Can you explain how the town is going following that significant flooding from Cyclone Jasper last month?
So, Simon, I've actually come further south today. I'm at Bloomfield. This is one of the communities that really felt that they had been overlooked following the flooding. They're a small community, but they had some of the most horrific impacts that you could imagine. People ending up on their roofs with trees battering into their houses during the night. I need to shout out to the RFDS, to their mental health counselling services that they're offering here on the ground. Disaster recovery are here, amongst other government, local and federal and state government agencies. But these communities, the rivers have been gouged out. It has been hundreds of years since they've seen this kind of rainfall. And to see what were previously small creeks have now been gouged into what were raging torrents that tore trees out, big trees out by their roots, and snapped others off like toothpicks. This has been truly extraordinary to see. But so many of these communities, unlike when a city's flooded, that there is still access, people are able to get in to help families with their homes, these communities have been completely cut off. And so they are trying to get back on their feet. I just spoke to one couple who urgently need assistance to get their diesel engine on their Toyota going so that they can drive. That they can find their home again, try and find their belongings. So it's been pretty shocking to see, but an extraordinarily resilient community, and they are getting back up on their feet.
Now, well, you're in Bloomfield, not far from Wujal, where we've seen some terrible scenes there of the flooding more recently. Have you been able to get in there, or do you plan to head there at all?
Yes, absolutely. And so both the Department of Main Roads and the local councils have done an extraordinary job in moving, in some places, enormous boulders to get roads reopened, to remove mudslides and trees from across the roads. They've been really hampered by the wet tropics management system up here, which has restricted what councils are allowed to do to remove trees and to be able to open the roads up. And that's a topic that we'll be having to talk about going into the future, is how do we better able emergency services to clear roads and make sure that that they're in the best possible condition that they can be for the next wet season. But it has been a great community effort.
I was just going to ask you, Senator, has there been much awareness around this monsoon that's formed over the top end of the NT and possibly could stretch to over where you are or further up the Cape? Is there any nervousness about that, given the situation at the moment?
Well, we know that a monsoon is something that is very usual in the north part of the tropics, and people have understood that that would be coming. This is kind of a return to a normal monsoonal activity. But you're right, people are nervous, and it's important that they understand that there are Chinook helicopters available here in this community should there be any further flooding, that the government, the local council is fully aware of these people who are isolated and still in terrible straits, and they will be looked after, they will be protected. But it certainly doesn't help if we start talking about monsoonal events as being catastrophic. They're not. This is usual weather activity for us here in the north for the wet season. But don't underestimate just how badly these communities have been affected. There have been whole roads washed away, homes inundated, and this is a community that has lost power. The power lines are down. There was very little telecommunications, and of course it's been difficult to get food drops in. But I'm delighted to say that the government is all rallying, but it is important that anybody who's watching and listening to this understands that if you feel that you've not been able to access the assistance, that you think you're available, come to the community hubs, places like the Bloomfield Library, where I am right now, because government workers will assist you with making those applications, making sure that the money that Australian taxpayers have made available to assist you in this time of need, you're able to work through the forms, you're able to work through the applications, you're able to get the allowances for losing work, for trying to get back on your feet, and to connect with government agencies so that you can also register if you have not yet been assisted with your home or with your belongings.
Senator, appreciate your time.
It's great to talk to you, Simon, and the people of this community really appreciate Sky's interest and acknowledgement that they too have been flooded in this latest flood event.